Alright, welcome to my talk-through guide on how to get the Reclaiming Their Anima and Unleash the Font achievements at Telos. These are really tough, as we'll have to do these at 4000% enrage. My personal comfort zone at Telos is using melee, but I ended up doing these feats with necromancy, as the area of effect potential is vastly superior. I also brought along the tier 95 magic dual wields with me. And for the purposes of this feat, I took off my usual Precise 6 Aftershock 1 on the wand, and I just threw on a Caroming 4 perk. I will be using Chain Soulfire spec on phase 5. It's incredibly powerful, as you'll soon see. I'm also wearing my Necromancy tank armor and a superior Leviathan's ring. The ring has a 5% chance to have incoming damage, which can be huge here. I'm also taking a Hellhound familiar with me. There's no bonus points for doing this challenge in power armor, so I don't feel much need to have a big ego about it. If tank armor helps me get the feat done, that's what I'm going to use. If it's easier for you in power armor, well then power to you, pun intended. Let's look at these kills now. I'll slow down the clips if necessary, and then play a full speed version with light commentary afterwards. For this first feat, our goal is going to be to kill all of the Anima golems in phase 4 and in phase 5 before securing the kill. There are no feats associated with the first 3 phases, so I'm just trying to get through them, and ideally I'll end phase 3 with good adrenaline and high soul stacks. When I drop down to phase 4, I'll use my 5-stack volley, then a touch of death to phase Telos without getting any auto attacks. My strategy for the first font golems was to triple scythe the minions before going in. So I would do scythe 1, then invoke death, and then scythe 2 and 3. I would invoke death after scythe 1, as I was more confident that my scythe 2 would reach and apply death mark to all of the golems. There is going to be a bit of a balancing act to this feat where you don't want to stand out of the fonts for too long, otherwise you'll get insta-killed. But after my triple scythe, I re-enter the font and I try and keep doing some basic abilities on the golems. If my scythes don't give me 5 soul stacks, I'm going to want to use soul sap to make sure that I get some stacks. You could also use bloat on golems, as it's really powerful on its own, but if it kills a golem, it'll spread the damage to any adjacent ones. So it's a really good ability on any low HP golems you see. It's not going to be necessary to fully kill these golems in font 1, as we're going to be doing a big Threads of Fate on font 2, but to phase out of font 1, I'm going to attack Telos with a 5-stack volley and then a tier 90 weapon spec that will trigger Telos to use Freedom. Now that he's used his Freedom, I want to use the Entangle spell on him. That's going to buy me a lot of time to deal with the minions during this next font. Normally you would see Telos go right into his charging animation here, but he's just going to stand there, menacingly. He might look tough now, but he's completely dormant in this stage. Now on these golems in the second font, I can use Invoke Death, then Threads of Fate, use Soul Sap, then Volley, then tier 95 special attack. That's going to do a ton of damage, probably not going to kill all of them though, but since I have a ton of extra time on this font, I can also do some basic abilities, maybe a bloat, and maybe a couple of spectral scythes to clear any stragglers. Telos finally regains control right around the time that I kill golems in this clip. So I'll stand in the font, and to phase out of this font, once again I'll use 5-stack volley and tier 90 spec again. Unfortunately, I don't think you can entangle out of this font. My strategy to kill this third set of minions is going to be to use Death Skulls first, then a couple of scythes. And when I do enter the font, I can once again use Threads of Fate, Volley, Sap, Volley. I was a little bit too slow entering the font here, so I signed, but that's fine. That's what signs are for. Fortunately, I killed all of the minions, and that's going to be the most important part of this feat. I think phase 4 is by far the hardest part of this challenge. For phase 5, I now have a fairly lengthy Threads of Fate cooldown since I used it on that last font, but that's actually going to work out in my favor, because I'm going to want to start this P5 by using my tier 95 magic dual wields first. So I'll enter the beam, then I'll wait for the minions to clump up. I'll target one of them, I'll use Corruption Blast, I'll use Chain with my Caroming perk if you remember, then I'll use Soulfire spec. That's going to do a ton of damage on its own. You can see here it basically did half of the work for me. I'll re-equip my Necromancy weapons and try and do some defensives like Reflect, Resonance, maybe use a Vitality Potion. I also used a Natural Instinct here, then I used Barricade. Once you get to Barricade, this kill should be free. I'll use Invoke Death and then Split Soul, as I still have a couple of seconds cooldown on my threads, and using those two setup abilities will all but guarantee that all the minions die. Once you can, use Threads, Soul Sap, Volley, tier 90 spec. That should kill the minions and also do a lot of damage to Telos. I had 2 stragglers left, and I'm also playing a little bit nervously here as I really want to get this feat done, but just finish off any stragglers with good abilities like Death Skulls or Necrosis abilities. If you had red golems, make sure you're managing Anticipation and Freedom as well. Once all of the golems are dead though, this kill is free, as long as you don't die. so I just played extra safely. Admittedly, it was pretty slow. I was feeling the nerves, just happy that I actually killed all the golems this time, and I didn't want to make any stupid mistakes for no reason, like dying to a rock or letting my HP be too low that I could get one shot through prayer. So I eat a lot, I do some defensives, and ultimately I kill the boss, finally achieving this feat and unlocking a really cool new pet. Just to quickly show that off in the pet interface, you get this Telos golem that has 4 different color variations, all of which have those particle effects emitting from the chest. It really stands out amongst other pets, and it comes with a nice flex of showing off your enrage and kill streak when people examine it, so really happy to have this pet now. Now, let's look at the Fonting Phase 5 achievement. So this time I'll do a normal kill for the first 4 phases, and we'll sort of do a similar strategy at the start of Phase 5 with the Chain Soulfire. I think the ideal setups for Phase 5 would be to get Backbeam Red or Backbeam Green golems, as the fonts are the closest on either side. That or getting Sidebeam Black golems would be pretty good too. I ended up getting Backbeam Greens in my kill, so I was really happy. Once I got to the beam, I put on my magic weapons, waited for them to clump up, and then did Chain, Soulfire, Corruption Blast once again. That lowered the majority of the golem's HP. Then I wanted to do the normal P5 setup things, so your Reflect, Vitality Pot, Natural Instinct, Barricade. Once I get to Barricade, my strategy was to use Invoke Death and Split Soul as well. My plan was to wait till I cleared my virus before fonting, which I could have done better, but I ended up botching my dives thanks to my nerves. That's fine though. I ended up clearing my virus, and now it's time to take my low HP golems over to their respective font. So I walk over to the green font, then I use Threads of Fate, Soul Sap, Volley, and a weapon special attack to finish them off. Now, similarly to the last kill, I just don't want to die to any stupid mistakes. All we have to do is stay alive until Telos does his insta-kill. But in the meantime, we can lower his HP to near Deathmark range, where after using the font, we can kill him basically instantly with Deathmark. So I'm just trying to stay alive here, playing ultra safe. I get him down to about 50k HP before he does his insta-kill. And to negate that insta-kill and complete the feat at the same time, I'm going to run back over to the font and then click it to activate it. That'll knock out Telos and make you eligible for this feat. I waited here until he woke back up because I was unnecessarily paranoid about getting some kind of spaghetti code negating my achievement if he was still asleep, but once he started attacking me again, I just killed him with a volley. And there we go, that's all of the non-speed achievements completed for me at Telos. Really happy to have 2 really tough Grandmaster achievements under my belt, and I'm also stoked with this new pet. It looks really good with my 3rd Age Druidic outfit, and I can only imagine that the red and yellow ones will look equally as good with some kind of red or yellow outfits, matching the Master and Grandmaster aura unlocks. All things that I'm looking forward to earning slowly but surely here. Anyway, there's my video on how I completed these 2 Grandmaster Telos feats. I hope it was helpful or just fun to watch. If it was, share it with a friend and leave me a comment. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.